Sup, fuckers? How y'all doing? I gotta stop that, bro. This is why my fucking streams don't get pushed by YouTube, because I just start off swearing. This is not good. Chris, how's it going, man? How you doing? Fire in my soul, fire in my heart. And yellow mark. Can't stay good luck. Thanks, Harsh. Bye, buddy. No worries. I'm sure it's like really dog shit timing for you, isn't it? Oh, 6:30 a.m. That's awful. Eugene, hello. How goes it? What's tomorrow? What's tomorrow, Chris? There's an ending too. Oh, extended lock. Yes, I agree. So close. Do you think it's the extended look? I thought they were just gonna show us the video of them of Rockstar sliming out the fucking leaker. And presto, voila, behold, and Shazam. As you go. I need the leaker. Where do you go? Park. My strength, my talent, my forte, my gift. Page, signature, piano. What's Largo? What's a Largo? Largo, with a slow and dignified tempo. I need Rockstar. Oh, Shaziko. What? Chris told me to stream at this time. I was gonna stream earlier, but I was gonna stream at like 3 a.m. for you, so that was gonna be even worse, so. Phosphorus, lime, park, page. It's the same time for me as you. Oh, Harsh, I'm sorry. Wait, you said can't. I don't know. When you said can't stay, I immediately think it's really bad timing for you. So I don't know. Cuddle. Yes, I'm gonna. You're gonna need to keep telling me, bro. I'm bad at this shit. Okay, there's a lot of people. I'm sorry. I make mistakes. I am but a man. Let's play chess for like 5 minutes and then we'll start, okay? Central time. Now I just have something to do and I haven't read SS. Ah, no worries. Bye, buddy. I appreciate you coming by. I'm sorry. I keep fucking this up. I do apologize. What the fuck is this? Oh, is this lifelines? Oh, it is. Harder. 14 months, dude. That's so crazy. Holy shit. Oh, thank you, dude. What the hell? That's crazy, man. June last year. Thank you, dude. I appreciate you. Thank you for the 14 months. That's nutsy. Gotcha, bitch. 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 Gotcha. No, that doesn't work. What could we? Nope. I'm like 9 hours ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'll try to remember. I do apologize. Go left. Go right. The more you have to read on Saturday, right? Bad news, I might not be able to stream on the weekend. Oof. I will try to get out of it. My parents are dragging me to a fucking family event. I'm trying to get out of it. But if I must go, then I must go. You know, it is what it is. I will try. I'm trying to get out of it. How far did you get? 11 chapters, either. It's 9:10. Let's go. I think I only read the first chapter. Hey there. It's not bad. I'm not gonna lie. It's not bad. I don't wanna get that across. But the start is slow. Like, I'm not captivated. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm super into like, yo. Like, Shadow Save, I'm immediately like, yo, I really want to know what happens, like, now. What's happening to Sunny? What's happening to Sunless? I want to know. But, like, Reverend Insanity, I'm like, yeah, like, I want to see him get his family's inheritance, I do, but, like, you know what I mean? Dazed, holy shit, thank you for coming, man. Thank you for coming. By that implication, I'm assuming you've watched a lot of VODs, but either way, thanks for watching, man. I appreciate you. Alright, boys, what do you say we start reading? Could you read Shadow Slave today, Reverend Insanity tomorrow, then do that weekend stuff? Maybe. All of LTM Koi and now this. Holy shit, Dazed. I wish you'd like sent a message or like sent a comment or something, because I don't think I've ever seen you comment either. Maybe you messaged once or twice, but like I don't think so. But either way, thanks, man. I appreciate you sticking by me. Big lurker I am. Alright, let's start. Chapter 11, Crossroads. Now, I still do not have my music, guys, so this is all very sad and depressing, not gonna lie, for real. So I'm playing this by ear, okay? So I want to hear it. The music. No, I'm just kidding. If something feels off or someone knows, please let me know, okay? Chapter 11, Crossroads. The three of them stood motionless, looking down in uneasy silence. What happened to Shifty didn't come as a shock, but it was still a hard thing to digest. An ominous feeling settled in their hearts, seeing the broken bones of their companion. It was too easy to imagine one of them sharing the same fate. No one knew what to say, and after a minute or so, the scholar sighed. It is a good thing that you took most of the supplies he had been carrying. A bit heartless, but not wrong, Sunny thought. Scholar frowned, realizing that his mask of a kind-hearted gentleman had slipped for a moment, and he added in a somber tone, "May you rest in peace, my friend." Crimson Desert is 20% off, and they just released another update. Buy it, you won't regret it. Okay, is it on sale on Steam? Or, okay, I'm not gonna lie, Chris, I'm a little poors right now, because I started playing CS, and I just spent so much money on skins, I don't even want to talk about it. Holy shit. Wow, that shit is so expensive. What the fuck? Why did they make it like that? I don't regret it. May you rest in peace, my friend. Wow, what a performance. Actually, Sunny had not believed in the benevolent act for but a moment. Every kid from the outskirts knew that people who acted kind for no reason were the ones to be the most wary of. They were either fools or monsters. Scholar didn't seem like a fool, so Sunny was cautious from him from the moment they met. He'd gotten this far by being a mistrustful cynic, and there was no reason to change now. "We have to go," the hero said, casting one gaze down. His voice was even, but even Sunny could feel a well of emotions behind it. He just couldn't tell what the emotions were. Scholar sighed and turned away too. Sunny stared at the bloodied rocks for a few more seconds. Why do I feel so guilty, he thought, bewildered by this unexpected reaction. He got what he deserved. A little unsettled, Sunny turned around and followed his 2 remaining companions, and like that, they left Shifty behind and continued to climb. At this altitude, traversing the mountains was getting harder and harder. The wind was slamming into them with enough force to throw a person off balance if they weren't careful, making every step seem like a gamble. The air becoming too thin to breathe. Due to the lack of oxygen, Sunny was starting to feel dizzy and nauseated. It was as though they were all suffocating. Altitude sickness was not something one could overcome with effort. It was subtle and overbearing at the same time, affecting the strong and the weak alike. If his luck was bad, an elite athlete could succumb faster than a normal random passerby. It was just a question of your body's innate aptitude and adaptability. You know what? Okay, I've read The Climber had like a chapter or 2 about this. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna rave on this for a second because I love The Climber. If you have not read The Climber, go read it, bro. It's so good. Fucking 10 out of I have like 2 10 out of 10 mangas and it's one of them. Okay. They had a chapter on this, on like how your body metabolizes oxygen and stuff. So sorry, I just any chance to mention The Climber, okay? It was lucky ones were able to get over it after experiencing mild symptoms. The others were sometimes crippled for days or weeks, suffering from all kinds of torturous side effects, and some even died. As though that wasn't bad enough, it was getting colder too. The warm clothes and fur weren't enough to keep the chill at bay anymore. Sunny simultaneously felt feverish and freezing, cursing every decision he made in his life to end up here, on the endless icy slope. This mountain was not a place for humans. Yet they must go on. A few hours had passed, and despite everything, the 3 survivors continued to struggle forward, slowly moving higher and higher. Wherever that old path scholar had talked about wherever that old path scholar had talked about was, by now it couldn't have been far. At least that's what Sunny hoped for. But at some point he started to doubt if the path even existed. Maybe the older slave lied. Maybe the path long ago was destroyed by the ravages of time. Maybe they had already missed it. Just as he was beginning to fall into despair, they found it. It was weathered and narrow, barely enough for 2 people to walk side by side. It wasn't paved, but rather cut from black rock by some unknown tool or magic, winding its way up the mountain like a tail of a sleeping dragon. Here and there it was hidden beneath the snow, but most importantly, it was flat. Sunny had never been that happy to see something flat in his life. Without saying a word, Scholar dropped his rucksack and sat down. He was deathly pale, gasping for air like a fish out of water, and despite that, there was a grin on his face. Told you. The hero gave a good nod and looked around, and a few seconds later he turned back to the triumphant slave. Stand up. It is not yet time to rest. Scholar blinked a few times, then glanced at him with pleading eyes. Just give me a few minutes. The young soldier was going to retort, but Sunny put a hand under his shoulder, and the hero turned to him. What is it? It's gone. What's gone? Sunny gestured down. Shifty's body. The hero stared for a few moments, clearly failing to understand what Sunny was saying. Oh, right. They don't know that Shifty's name is Shifty. Awkward. He wanted to explain, but both Scholar and Hero seemed to grasp the meaning. Simultaneously, they moved to the edge of the stone path and looked down, trying to spot the place where Shifty had met his end. Indeed, the splattering of blood could still be seen on the rocks, but the corpse was nowhere to be found. The Scholar flinched and crawled back from the edge. The young soldier also backed away, instinctively grabbing the handle of his sword. The 3 exchanged looks, clearly understanding the implication. It's the monster, Scholar said. It's following us. You are right, and if it's that close, we will inevitably be forced to fight soon, the hero said. The idea of fighting the tyrant was as terrifying as it was preposterous. He may as well have said that they'll all be dead soon. The truth of it was painfully clear to everyone. But the older slave surprisingly didn't look panicked, and instead lowered his head. Not necessarily. Explain, the young soldier said. The beast had traced us this far in just a day. That means there are almost 2 probabilities. Either it is smart enough to realize where we are going, or it is following the scent of blood. My buddy Paul could probably fight it. Dude, you know what? I've seen Paul, and if he gets hammered drunk enough, he could fight it. I agree. He gets drunk enough, the pain, he would just numb it out and just keep fighting like guts, you know? Or it is following the scent of blood. After a bit of thinking, the hero nodded, agreeing with this logic. The older slave smiled and continued, whether it is the one or the other, we can throw him off our trail and buy some time. How? Despite the urgency in the hero's voice, the scholar hesitated and remained silent. Why are you not answering? Speak! The older slave sighed, and again, for a moment, as though against his will, answered. Sonny was waiting for this moment, for a while now. We'll just have to make the boy bleed, drag him down the path, then leave him there as bait and go up instead. His sacrifice will save our lives. Right on time. If Sonny wasn't mad and scared witless, of course he would have smiled. His judgment, it seems, was on point. Affirmation was always nice. But not in the situation where being right also meant potentially being used as monster bait. He remembered the words that the scholar had spoken back when Shifty was campaigning to have Sonny killed. Don't be too hasty, my friend. The boy may prove useful later. These words, which sounded benevolent then, turned out to hide a much more sinister meaning. What a bitch! Now it all depended on whether the hero would decide on such a plan. The soldier blinked for a moment and asked, what do you mean, make him bleed? Well, it's all quite elementary, my dear Watson. If the monster knows where we are going, we have no choice but to abandon our plans to reach the mountain pass and go over the peak of the mountain instead. If the monster is following the scent of the blood, we have to use one of us as bait. Only by leaving a bleeding man further down the path can we reliably avoid the pursuit, no matter how it tracks us. And how do you propose to do something so vile? The older slave masterfully pretended to look aggrieved and somber. Of course, it pains me, but if we do nothing, we will all die. This way, at least, the boy's death will save 2 lives. The gods shall reward him. What a silver tongue. I'm almost convinced myself. The young soldier opened his mouth and closed it again. Sonny was silently watching the other two, measuring his chances of coming out on top in a fight. Scholar was already halfway to a corpse, so overpowering him is not a big deal. The hero, on the other hand. So, boys, what do you think? Do you think the hero goes, why don't we just kill you? You look like you'd be easier to kill than that guy. Or does the hero go, you know what? You right, though. Fuck this kid. Listen, I'm already getting, like, Griffith vibes from this guy. I feel like I'm getting Griffith vibes from him. If anyone has not seen Griffith, Griffith is, like... No, I'm not going to spoil it. Fuck off. I'm already getting, like, Griffith vibe. Like, this guy's perfect. Oh, he's, like, untouchable in a fight. You know, he was fighting against a tyrant-level being and only got hit once. He's so benevolent, he's so kind, he always offers to the slaves, he's righteous, he is all but George Washington reborn. Fuck you, okay? You're evil, I can tell. Right now, the obstacle was looking down, avoiding Sonny's gaze. His hand was resting on the sword handle. As always, the young slave had no idea about what was going on inside the hero's head. Inside the hero's perfectly shaped head. The uncertainty made him rather nervous. Finally, after some time, the soldier spoke. I only have one question. Yes? You see, you said that one of us must be sacrificed, but why him? From what I see, you are far closer to the grave than him. A great question. I was just about to ask the same myself. Sonny turned to the other slave, trying very hard to suppress a mocking grin. The scholar, however, already had an answer prepared. Before the first attack, he was already bleeding because of your senior's whip. During the attack, he was drenched in the blood of a fellow slave. His cloak, too, was soaked when the previous owner died. The boy reeks of blood. Keeping him alive will put you in danger anyway. That's why he's the best chance. The grin died before reaching Sonny's face. Curse you and your big brain. The scholar's reasoning was solid. The hero listened, his expression going darker with each word, and finally he looked at Sonny. This is true. Sunny felt his mouth getting dry and sweat running down his spine, tensing. But at that moment, the hero smiled. Your logic is unassailable. However, you fail to account for one thing. Oh? What's that? I know who you are, Your Grace. I know what you have done, and how you became a slave. Just one of the revolting crimes you've committed would be enough to make me want to kill you. So if there's anyone amongst us who deserves to die, it's surely you. But the smell of blood! Don't worry about it. I'll make you bleed enough to overpower whatever scent the boy carries. It all happened so fast that Sunny barely had time to react. The hero lunged forward with a speed that seemed almost inhuman. A moment later, the scholar was shrieking on the ground with his leg broken, with one strike from the flat side of the young soldier's sword. Not giving him a chance to recover, the hero stomped on the other leg with a sickening sound of shattering bones. And like that, the scholar was done for him. The brutality of the hero's actions was in stark contrast with his usual graceful demeanor. That was scary, Sunny thought. The soldier gave him a calm look and said, "Wait for me here." He then grabbed the older slave and dragged him down the path, soon disappearing behind a rock outcropping, and after a few minutes, terrible screams could be heard. Sunny was left alone, trembling. Jesus, this is too much. He still couldn't believe how sudden the scholar's demise came to be and how ruthless it was, and sometime later, the hero came back, acting as though nothing had happened. But it was that exact normalcy that unnerved Sunny. After sorting through the contents of the scholar's rucksack and throwing most of the firewood, the soldier put it over his shoulder and turned to the young slave. "Let's go, boy, we need to hurry." Not knowing what to say, Sunny gave him a nod and headed forward. Now there were only two. It was sort of stupid, but Sunny felt kind of alone. Walking on the stone path was much easier than scaling the mountain wall. He even had time for unnecessary thoughts. A strange feeling of melancholy descended upon Sunny. Somehow he began to feel that the end of this nightmare, whatever it may be, wasn't too far. They walked in silence for some time before the hero spoke. "Do not feel guilty about what happened. It is not your fault. The decision was mine, and mine alone. Besides, if you knew the man's sins... Actually, it's better that you don't. Just trust me when I say that killing him was an act of justice. I wonder which one of us feels guilty. These people always trying to rationalize their actions, desperate to maintain the illusion of righteousness while doing the most foul things." The hero chuckled. "You don't like to speak, do you, boy? Fair enough. Silence is gold." They didn't speak after that, each preoccupied with their own thoughts. The sun was setting, painting the world into a million shades of crimson. High up, the air was clean and crisp, pierced by streams of scarlet light. Below them, a sea of maroon clouds was slowly rolling past the mountains. The star and the moon had begun to reveal themselves in the vermilion sky. It was beautiful. However, Sunny could only think about how cold it was going to be once the sun disappeared. Before that, the hero had found them shelter. Not far from the path, hidden behind some tall rocks, was a narrow crevice that extended into the slope of the mountain. Happy to be safe from the piercing wind, they explored the crevice and ended up in a small, well-concealed cave. Sunny made a move to unbundle some firewood, but the hero stopped him. "Today, we shall camp without firewood. The beast is too close." Camping without the warm flames to keep them company was not going to be pleasant, but at least they weren't going to freeze to death inside of a cave. In any case, the alternative was simply too frightening. Sunny sat down, putting his back against the wall. The hero settled opposite him, looking downcast and thoughtful. He was obviously in a strange mood. If nothing else, it was apparent from the fact that today, for the first time, the soldier had failed to care for his sword after the camp. Soon the sun was gone, and the small cave had become dark. Sunny, of course, could see pretty well. The hero, on the other hand, now completely blind. In the darkness, his handsome face looked noble and, for some reason, sorrowful. Sunny studied it, not willing to fall asleep. After a while, the hero spoke. "You know, it's strange. Usually I can feel someone's presence, even in absolute darkness. But with you, there's nothing at all. It's like you are one with the shadows." With only the silence to answer him, he smiled. "Are you asleep?" The question echoed in the darkness. Sunny, who had never spoken with the hero unless there was a need to, and even then, only using a few words at best. Felt like there was an strange intimacy amongst the two. That's why he decided to talk now. Maybe the darkness gave him the courage. Besides, there was an occasion. What? Are you waiting for me to fall asleep before you kill me? Or will you do it in the morning? Oh my god, I'm so right. Okay, did I not clock that right away? Did I not clock that this guy was fucking Griffith? Did I not? Are you not entertained? The smile froze on the hero's face. He lowered his head as though in shame. After a moment or so passed, shrouded in silence, he answered, "Yes. I thought if I do it when you sleep, you won't need to suffer." Unseen to him, a grin appeared on Sunny's face. A long sigh escaped from the young soldier's lips as he rested against the cave. "I don't expect you to forgive me. This sin, too, shall be mine to bear. But please, if you can, find it in your heart to understand. If things were different, I would have gladly faced that monster to let you escape, but my life does not belong to my own. This is an unencompassable duty that I am sworn to fulfill, and until it is done, I cannot die." You people, look at you, planning to kill me and still insisting on having the best excuse. How fucking convenient. I really hate hypocrites like you the most. Why can you not be honest for once? Don't give me that shit. Just say it. I'm going to kill you because it is easy. I'm going to kill you because I wish to live. The hero closed his eyes, his face full of sadness. "I'm sorry. I knew you wouldn't understand." What's there to understand? Tell me. Why must I die? The soldier finally looked up. Even though he couldn't see in the dark, he turned his face to the direction of Sunny. That man was a villain, but he was also right. The scent of blood is too heavy on you. It will attract the beast. You can just let me go, We'll part ways, and after that, whether or not he finds me won't be your problem. Dying in that creature's maw. It is a fate too cruel. It is best if I do it. You are my responsibility, after all. How fucking noble. When I just came here, I was ready to die. After all, in this whole world, 2 worlds actually, there's not a single soul who gives a shit about me. When I'm gone, no one will be sad, and no one will even remember that I existed. But then I changed my mind. Somewhere along the way, I decided to live. I must live, no matter what. The hero gave him a thoughtful look. To live a life worth remembering? No, to spite you all. The hero was silent for a moment, then nodded, accepting this answer. Don't worry, I'll make it quick. You're rather confident. What makes you think you'll be able to kill me? Maybe I'll kill you. I somehow doubt that. But in the next second, he staggered and fell on one knee. The young man's face turned deathly pale, and with a pained groan, he vomited blood. A satisfied smile on Sunny's face. Finally. The hero was standing on his knees, the lower part of his face covered in blood, astonished. He was staring at his own hand, trying to understand what the hell happened. What magic is this? Was that thief right? Did the curse of the shadow god? Did you put it? I wish I had that ability to throw divine curses, but no. To tell you the truth, I don't have any abilities at all. Then how? Because I poisoned you all. What? After the tyrant first attacked, you had sent me to search for water. While gathering flagons from the dead soldiers, I squeezed some bloodbane into each one, except mine own, of course. Not enough to taste it, but enough to slowly kill anyone. So that's why the other 2 were doing so bad? Shifty drank the most, so his condition worsened the fastest. The scholar was not long for the world, but you finished him off yourself. You, however, it was as though the bloodbane had no effect on you at all. I was truly starting to get a little worried there. I see. But back then, you didn't know that we will turn on you. Oh, please. It was fucking obvious. Shifty was the kind of man who'd kill for a pair of boots. Scholar was like a wolf in sheep's clothing. People are selfish and cruel in the best of situations. Was I supposed to believe that those two weren't going to do something terrible when they faced certain death? The hero spat more blood. What about me? You? You are the worst of them all. What? Why? I might not have learned much in my short life, but I know one thing. There is nothing more pathetic than a slave who begins to trust his slaver. I see. Then suddenly the hero began to laugh. You are a wicked little shit, aren't you? Now, there's no need to be rude. But the hero wasn't listening to him. Good, this is good. My conscience will be clearer. The young slave sighed in irritation. What are you mumbling about? Just die already. The hero chuckled and pierced him with a stare. You see, that plan would have worked if I were a normal man, but alas, my soul core has awakened long ago. I have slain countless enemies and have absorbed their powers. Blood-bane poison, as unpleasant as it may be, could never kill me. Shit! Sunny turned around and tried to run, but it was too late. Something hit him in the back, sending his body crashing into the rock wall. With a scream, he felt a sharp pain piercing his left side. Rolling out of the cave, Sunny clenched his chest, scrambling back to his feet, and ran, trying to escape the narrow crevice. He somehow managed to reach the old path, finally being able to see the stars and the pale moon. But it was as far as he would get. Stop! As a cold voice sounded behind him, and Sunny froze. If the hero had really awakened soul cores, he had no chance of getting away. In a fight, he had no chances at all. Turn around. The young slave obediently turned, holding his hands up and looking at the soldier who was wiping the blood off his face. Was it worth it? No matter, despite it all, I will be true to my promise. I will make it quick. Do you have any last words? Sunny did not answer, but a small bell appeared in his hand. Where were you hiding that? Sunny shook the bell. Beautiful, clear, ringing sound flowed over the mountains, filling the night. What are you doing? Stop! The slave stopped dutifully. What was... Right under the hero's bewildered eyes, the silver bell disappeared. He looked at Sunny. What did you do? But Sunny didn't answer. In fact, he hadn't said a single word. Right now, he wasn't even breathing. He's gonna call the monster on him and then just disappear into the night, be one with the shadows, because he's like, listen, if you're awakened and you can't sense me, good chance the monster can't sense me either. Ideally, you both kill each other. Or, worst case scenario, you both hurt each other, one of you dies, I take out the wounded one. I'm laughing. Either way, get fucked, idiot. Tell me now or you'll regret it. Why are you not saying anything? The shivering boy just stared at him, silent. No, he was staring into the darkness behind him. The hero's eyes widened. What? Oh, it's so peak! We're about... Oh, Griffith is about to die. If only the creator of fucking Berserk could have gotten to this point in 15 fucking chapters instead of making me wait 20 fucking years of my life. Chris, how's it going, man? No worries. You're in time. You're just in time for the peak fight. You missed the peak dialogue, but you're in time for a good fight, I think. Sunny had no choice but to resort to one last desperate gamble. He had no chance against this enemy in direct combat. At least not without an advantage. The bloodbane poison was supposed to be that advantage, but turned out to be rather useless. Being able to see in the dark did not help that much. Somehow, the hero was able to perceive their surroundings even without light. Whether he was using his sense of hearing or something else, Sunny didn't know. Not that it mattered now that he had left the cave and they were standing under the moonlit sky. I have you up on my work monitor at the office. Couldn't leave early today. Oh, dude, if you have work to do, don't sweat it. You can just watch the what? Fuss? You can just watch the VOD later. Now he had only one advantage, the fact that he knew that the tyrant was blind and the hero did not. Acting on that, however, was easier than said than done. Claude is doing my work. Fair enough. But what else could he do? That's why he tried to stay as silent as possible and ring the bell. If the description did not lie, its ringing could be heard from miles away. Surely, the tyrant was going to hear it. Now Sunny only had to be silent, stalling for a time and hoping the monster would come. And as he did, the hero's bewilderment turned to anger. "Tell me now or you'll regret it!" His voice was threatening, but still the slave did not answer. He just shivered in the cold and tried not to groan despite the pain in his chest. "Why are you not answering?" But Sunny didn't dare to answer. He held his breath and watched, horrified, as the familiar colossal figure appeared behind the hero. His lungs were on fire and his heart beating like crazy, beating so loud that he was afraid that the blind tyrant could hear it. But of course, it couldn't be louder than the hero's voice, who was still talking, turning himself into the only source of sound. At the last moment, a hint of understanding appeared in his eyes, and he began to turn around, drawing his sword with lightning speed. But it was too late. A massive hand appeared from the darkness and caught him in an iron grip. The claws scraped against the armor, pulling it apart. The Mountain King dragged the hero back, paying little attention to the sword biting into its wrist. Viscous saliva streaming from its open maw. Petrified by the fear, Sunny slowly turned his back to them and took a couple of steps, then darted away, running as fast as he could. Behind him, a desperate scream tore at the silent night, then a hungry roar followed. It seemed the hero wasn't going down without a fight, though his fate was already sealed. But Sunny didn't care. He was running, climbing higher and higher. "I'm sorry, hero," he thought. "I did say that I would watch you die, but as you know, I'm a liar, so go die by yourself." Hold on, that's kind of aura, though. He said, "Okay, little white lie. I got you killed, but I can't watch it," okay? Minor distinction. A lonesome dark mountain stood against the raging wind, jagged and proud, and dwarfed other peaks in the mountain chain, cutting the night sky with its sharp edges, and a radiant moon bathed its slopes in the ghastly night. Double kill. Do you think it's a double kill? I don't think so. I think the tyrant's probably alive, no? I doubt the hero managed to kill the tyrant from that. In a one-on-one fight, I think he was already losing that in a fair fight. But in this fight where he's caught off guard, caught in a death grip right away, I don't think he's killing him. Under that light, a young man with pale skin and black hair reached the peak of the mountain, but his looks... However, his looks didn't match the significance of this scene. Wounded and staggered, he looked pathetic and weak. He's a bit of an edgelord at times, but I love him for it. Good lord. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, edgelord characters, I kind of like. I know I shouldn't, and I know they're supposed to be cringy or whatever, but I actually enjoy them, okay? I like solo leveling, sue me. The young man looked like a wandering corpse. His coarse tunic and cloak were torn and were smeared with blood, his sunken eyes cloudy and lifeless, his body bruised, beaten and cut. Specks of bloody foam on his lips. He was hunched over, cradling the left side of his chest. Each step caused him to moan in ragged breath, barely escaping through gritted teeth. Sunny was hurting all over, but most of all, he was oh so cold. He just wanted to lay down. But instead he continued walking because he believed the nightmare will be over once he reaches the peak. Another step. Finally, he had made it. At the highest point of the mountain, a vast expanse of flat rocks covered in snow, at the center of it, illuminated by moonlight, stood a magnificent temple. Its colossal columns and walls were cut from black marble with exquisite relief decorating the Stygian pediment and broad frieze. Beautiful and awesome, it looked like the palace of a dark god. The Temple of the Shadow God? At least, It did once. The temple was now in ruins. Fractures and cracks marred the black stones. Parts of the roof collapsed, letting in ice and snow. Its gates broken as if smashed to pieces by a giant. Still, Sonny was satisfied. "Found you," he said. Gathering all his strength, the young slave limped in the direction of the ruined temple. His thoughts muddled and confused. "See this, hero?" he thought, forgetting for a moment that he was already dead. The hero was already dead, rather. "I made it. You were strong and ruthless, and I weak and timid. And yet you are a corpse, and I am here. Isn't it oh so funny?" He stumbled and groaned, feeling the edges of his broken ribs cutting deeper into his lungs, blood dripping from his mouth. Did or not, the hero had gotten him good with that strike. Actually, it's not. What do any of you know of being ruthless, you fools? In the world where I come from, people had thousands of years to turn cruelty to art. And as someone on the receiving end of all that cruelty, don't you think I would know more about being vicious than you ever could? He was getting closer to the temple. Truth be told, he never stood a chance. Wait, what was I thinking about? A moment later, he had already forgotten. There was only pain, the dark temple, and the overpowering desire to fall asleep. Don't. It's just hypothermia. If you fall asleep, you'll die. Soon, Sonny reached the steps of the Black Temple. He started to climb them, not noticing the thousands of bones scattered across. Bones that once belonged to humans and monsters both. All of them killed by the invisible guardians still lingering around the temple. I assume he's gonna go into the temple. He's gonna, pray to the Shadow God or some shit. And then the Shadow God is gonna give him some actual powers. Or, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. Nah. As Sonny was climbing the steps, one of the shapeless guardians approached him, ready to snuff out the spark of life that was burning weakly in the defiler's chest, but then stopped, sensing a faint, familiar scent coming from the soul. The scent of divinity. Sorrowful and lonesome, the guardian moved, letting Sonny pass. Child of divinity? Sonny found himself in a grandiose hall. Cascades of moonlight falling through the holes in a partially collapsed roof. Deep shadows surrounding these circles of silver light, not daring to touch them, the floor covered in ice and snow. At the end of the hall, a large altar was cut from a single piece of black marble. It was the only thing inside the temple untouched by snow. Forgetting why he was here, Sonny headed for the altar. He just wanted to sleep. The altar was dry and clean and as wide as a bed. Sonny climbed on it and lay down. It seemed like he was gonna die, and he was okay with it. Sonny tried to close his eyes, but was stopped by a sudden noise coming from the direction of the temple's entrance. He turned his head to look, not even a little bit curious. What he saw would have sent chills down his spine if he wasn't so cold and tired and indifferent. The Mountain King was standing there. What? Looking at him with its 5 blind eyes. He was still massive, terrifying, and revolting. This is gonna be like the fucking... It's gonna be some... He's gonna be like the fucking shaman of the Shadow God or some shit. Worm-like shape still moving frantically under his skin. It was snuffing the air, salivating, as it opened its maw and moved forward, approaching the altar. What an ugly bastard, Sonny thought, as he clenched his chest, convulsing in a fit of torturous coughing. Bloody foam flew from his mouth and fell on the altar, but the black marble absorbed it. A second later, it was as pristine as before. The tyrant was about to reach Sonny. It was already stretching its hand to grab him. I guess this is the end, he thought, resigning himself to fate. But at the last second, a voice of the spell resounded in the dark temple. You have offered yourself as a sacrifice to the gods. The gods are dead. They cannot hear you. Your soul bears the mark of divinity. You are a temple slave. The Shadow God stirs in his eternal slumber. He sends a blessing from beyond the grave. Child of shadows, receive thy blessing. Under Sonny's astonished eyes, the shadows crowding the giant hall moved as though coming alive. Tentacles of darkness surged forward, entangling the Mountain King's arms and legs. The tyrant struggled, trying to get free. But it couldn't possibly resist the power of a god. The shadow dragged the Mountain King back, pulling in different directions. The tyrant opened its mouth and a furious howl escaped it. The next second, its body ruptured, torn to pieces. Blood, Viscera and severed limbs fell on the ground in a crimson torrent. And like that, the horrible creature was dead. Sunny blinked, and once again, he was alone in the ruined temple, the dark hall, dark and silent. And the spell spoke once again. You have slain an awakened tyrant, the Mountain King. Wake up, Sunless. Your nightmare is over. The first nightmare is over. Let's go! What? What? That was so good. That was so good. It was the opposite. I thought the Mountain King was just gonna end up being like, "Oh, I was testing you this whole time, my friend. It seems you are worthy to receive thy comings." And then he like kills himself or something. Okay, different way than I expected. But oh, so the God of the Shadows is basically like Death from Lord of the Mysteries. Like he's dead, but he's like one with death anyway. So like, yeah, he can still do shit even in death. Prepare for appraisal. Oh my god, it's the Shadow Slave. Dude, Cuttlefish waited to like chapter like 1000 to use Lord of the Mysteries as a chapter title. He's doing that in chapter 15? Holy shit. The goat. He's doing it so early. He's using his trump card so early. You get this once. You get this only once. Sunny found himself in a space between dreams and reality. It was an endless black void illuminated by a myriad of stars. Between those stars, countless strings of silver light were woven into a beautiful and inconceivably complex net, forming various nexuses and constellations, truly breathtaking. Somehow, Sunny understood that he was seeing the inner workings of the nightmare spell. He also couldn't help but think that it looked a lot like the celestial equivalent of a neural network. If so, was the spell alive? Is Sunny also a fucking transmigrator? How the fuck does he know what a neural network is? This was a question that countless people had been asking themselves for the past few decades. The best answer they could come up with was that there was no way to know. The spell was neither dead nor alive, neither sentient nor mindless. It was more of a function than a creature. But Sunny was in no mood to ponder philosophical questions. He was eagerly awaiting his boon. The spell still appraising his performance. However, the first reward had nothing to do with that. You have received a memory, the Puppeteer's Shroud. This is like Cyberpunk? In what way? I don't know. Yes! Sunny felt incredibly elated. He was almost ready to do a happy dance. That memory belonged to the Mountain King, who was an awakened tyrant, which meant that the memory itself was on the awakened was of the awakened rank. Getting it was a stroke of incredible luck. There were 7 ranks to everything in the spell. The ranks were, in order of growing power, Dormant, Awakened, Ascendant, Transcendent, Supreme, Sacred, and Divine, with the exclusion of the nightmare creatures that were ranked as Dormant, Awakened, Fallen, Corrupted, Great, Cursed, and Unholy. He has access to ChatGPT? What? So he couldn't just he couldn't just say, "Hey ChatGPT, solve the nightmare spell for me"? It wouldn't. No one thought to do that. These guys are idiots. Hold on. Nightmare creatures. They changed this name, bro. It went from Beast, Monsters, Demons. Oh no, this is a different one. What? Dormant. Sorry, I'm writing this in my notes. Give me a second. Awakened, Fallen, Corrupted, Great, Cursed, and Unholy. Great. From the spell's point of view, Sunny was a dormant human. Having a memory of a higher rank than his own would be of great help once he enters the dream realm. The power gap between different ranks simply could not be overestimated. He wanted to take a look at the puppeteer's shroud, but there was no more time. The spell was done its appraisal. Here in the void, its voice didn't sound subtle, but unfamiliar anymore. Rather, it seemed like the universe itself was speaking, and Sunny held his breath. Aspirant, your trial is over. A nameless slave ascended the Black Mountain. Both heroes and monsters fell by his hand. Unbroken, he entered the ruined temples of a long-forgotten god and spilled his blood on the altar. The gods were dead, and yet they listened. You have defeated a dormant mob beast, Mountain King's larvae. You have defeated 3 dormant humans, names unknown. You have defeated an awakened human, Oro of the Nine. Of the Nine? Am I crazy, or like, does the 9 sound like, what's it like? What's the? I can't remember. I haven't watched Mushoku Tensei in so long. Isn't there like the great powers in the Mushoku Tensei who were like the top 10 highest ranking, or like the fucking the high rankers and like in like Tower of God? And that's what it's. That's the like vibe it's giving me. Is that guy something? You have defeated an awakened tyrant, Mountain King. You have received the Shadow God's blessing. You have achieved the impossible. Final appraisal, glorious. Your treachery truly knows no bounds. That final part seems rather unnecessary, Sunny thought, but he was still satisfied with the praise from the spell. He felt like his chance of evolving to his aspect to an awakened or even ascended were pretty good. His overall power still depended on the rank of a soul core, which would remain dormant until much later. But the rank of the aspect itself would do wonders for his potential. Dreamer, sunless, receive your boon. He was an aspirant no more. You have been bestowed a true name, lost from light. His jaw dropped. He had received a true name. Never in his wildest dreams did Sunny think of becoming one of the chosen few to accomplish such a feat, and in his first nightmare to boot. Not even all of the saints could boast of having one. He was an elite now, a bona fide cream of the crop. He was gonna be rich. Pookie! How's it going, Unhinged? By the way, I know last time we spoke you said you were gonna message me. If you're still interested or you need any help, just like send me a message whenever you want, okay? I forgo. But the rewards kept coming. Your aspect is ready to evolve. Evolve aspect? What the fuck kind of question is that? Yes. Dormant aspect. Temple slave is evolving. New aspect acquired. Aspect rank. Divine? Isn't that the highest one? What? Hold on. Dude, this might just be this might just be solo leveling. What? What? Sunny fell over. Aspect name. Shadow Slave. It's divine. Sunny was standing on his knees, stupefied, his shock so great that for a second he had lost all control. It said divine, right? He raised a trembling hand and rubbed his eyes, making sure that he was awake, or rather, conscious, since technically he was still sleeping, in the underground vault of the police station. Confused by all of this, Sunny silently summoned the runes he had found, describing his aspect. Aspect, Shadow Slave. Rank, Divine. Aspect description. You are a miraculous shadow left behind by a dead god. As a divine shadow, you possess plenty of strange and wondrous powers, but your existence is empty and lonesome. You mourn the passing of your former master and long to find another. Innate ability. Shadow Bond. Find a true master and let them know your true name. Once they recite it aloud, you shall be bound to their will. Unable to disobey any command, it is improper for a shadow, let alone a divine one, to walk around without a master. That was a lot today. Okay, hold on. His god level power is to be the bitch of another god level power? I'm sorry? This is like the people, this is like, you know, the really rich people who are like on Twitter who like still bootlick Elon Musk because he's still richer? And you're like, boy, I can't imagine being worth like $50 million and still being like, oh boy, Elon, I can't wait for you to fucking thumbs up my tweet. Like, bro, what the fuck is the point of your life? What are we doing here? What the fuck is the point of having a divine level power if your whole point is to be a slave to another master? What? First of all, Sonny felt his heart beating. He heard it right. All the suffering and horror he had experienced in that first nightmare paid off in the end. A divine aspect. He had received a divine aspect. Anything above awakened was rare and immensely valuable. People with ascended aspects were rare enough to be fought over by factions. The factions themselves were built around a singular powerhouse of transcendent or supreme aspects. And never had any and he had never ever heard of anyone acquiring a divine one. Never. Anything with divine prefix was so hard to find that it mostly lived in the realm of legends. After all, the human race had never reached that high. Yet it was only slightly more than a decade ago since humans finally managed to conquer the third nightmare and receive the ability to evolve to the transcendent rank. A shadow needs a master? Fair. Have you ever seen your shadow being bound that it was complained that it was bound to you? Well, I'm sure it could if I let it talk. That's why I keep that fucking, you know, that cloth around his fucking mouth, because I'm like, shut the fuck up, idiot. As transcendents, or saints, as they were called in the real world, a powerful, awakened rule over the dream realm. But even they did not dare to face nightmare creatures of higher ranks. Subsequently, there were not a lot of memories and echoes of supreme rank around, let alone sacred or divine. The same for aspects, and yet Sonny just got one. He grinned, driven half mad by the joy and arrogance. But his jubilation was muddied. After all, there was that weird innate ability. Of course, he had no intention of becoming someone's slave with no free will of his own. To fuck with that. He grinned, driven half mad by... but it wasn't that bad. All he had to do was avoid the fate to conceal his true name. No one except for him could see his status. That meant that Sonny just had to keep his mouth shut, and no one would ever know he had one. It meant giving up on all the benefits that someone who was bestowed a true name was entitled to, but paled in comparison to a divine aspect. Not my fucking problem, Sonny thought. If a spell had the ability to laugh, it would surely do so after hearing this thought, but instead, it began to speak again. It's going to be some bullshit like, oh well, as a divine god, or as a divine being, you are of course visible to all. All can see your inner workings, including your true name. And you're like, fuck. The first seal has broken, awakening dormant powers. Sonny felt something wake up inside him. With a startled cry, he clenched his chest and stared into the darkness, trying to understand what the hell was happening. The feeling wasn't pleasant or unpleasant, but rather it was like nothing he had ever experienced. It was as though his soul was being shaken apart, infused with a new strange energy. However, that energy did not come from the outside source. Rather, it was coming from within, as though it had always been, sleeping. The energy filled every fiber of his being. Sonny felt his emotions becoming cleaner and sharper, but then his body began to change. He felt as though a miniature star was burning at the center of his chest, waves of heat radiating, slowly reaching his stomach and shoulders, then his arms and legs, then his hands and feet. Under that heat, his bones, muscles, organs, blood vessels were being rebuilt and revitalized, like he was being reborn, becoming stronger, faster, healthier. It was euphoric. Totally not planning anything. Unhinged. If the universe was dying, and giving you mod powers is the only way to save it, I would still have a hard time doing it. Okay, let's just put it that way. With each second, his transformation was becoming more and more profound. New confidence settled in Sunny's heart. He was not a weak, frail kid anymore. He was not vulnerable against anyone who would dare to bully him. With all his powers awakened and his will tempered by the horrors of the first nightmare, he was now someone you would not want to cross, and after some time, the star burning in his chest cooled, and the heat was replaced by a soothing coldness. The coldness that washed over him and Sunny's body, taking away all the aches and discomforts that had accumulated over years. Then it moved up, reaching his brain and filled his eyes. His vision doubled. He could see the void populated by the endless patterns of stars, but could also see something different. A silent, calm, dark sea illuminated by a lonely black sun. From his previous knowledge, Sunny knew that this was the so-called Sea of Soul, but he also knew that it was supposed to look quite different. It was supposed to be much more lively. The stars hanging above, the representation of his soul core, was supposed to be burning with a bright light, filling his soul with a warm, blinding shine. But his was dark and lightless, sunless, you may say. That's strange. He took a look at the black sun. At close examination, it rather turned out to be transparent. It's just that there are no other major source of light around. The star appeared to be dark as dark as its surroundings. Also, no one was supposed to be here except for him. It was his soul, after all. Sunny had a nagging feeling that somewhere, just beyond the periphery of the vision, hidden in the darkness, shapeless forms were moving. No matter how he turned, he couldn't catch a glimpse of them, and yet the feeling wouldn't go away. Not wishing to waste any more time, Sunny turned back to the black sun and spotted the two spheres of light orbiting it, as though caught in a soul core's gravity well. A smile appeared on his face. These were his memories, Silver Bell and Puppeteer Shroud. Later, there'd be dozens of spheres here. But if he was lucky, he may even acquire an echo or two. The spell's voice continued. Awakening aspect ability. This is it. Moment of truth. Divine aspect or not, his future depended on the first aspect ability he would receive. His role in the dream realm would be based on its characteristics. If it was a combat ability, he'd be most useful on the front lines against bloody battles against the nightmare creatures. If it was tied to sorcery, he'd be a powerful but fragile ranged fighter. If it was something having to do with util, he'd be a vital part behind the scenes. Util abilities were also extremely valued in the real world, where Awakened performed many tasks that kept it going. If he was lucky, he could even become a healer. They were quite rare and very sought after. Aspect ability. Shadow Control. Sunny summoned the ruins, wanting to see the description of the ability right away. But it decided to look at his overall information really quickly. Name, Sunless. True name, Lost from Light. Rank, Dreamer. Shadow Core, Dormant. Shadow Fragments, 12 out of 1,000. Why does it say Dormant? Is it not supposed to say Divine? What? Where the rank of a soul core was supposed to be written, a mysterious shadow core appeared. Instead, Sunny looked at it, blinking. He had never heard of anyone having a different kind of core before. Was he that unique? Divine is his oh, it's the aspect rank. Okay, I got him. This enigmatic shadow core would certainly explain why his Sea of Soul looked so strange, and also he moved his eyes down. Noticing the shadow fragments counter. Usually there was supposed to be an indicator of the number of soul shards consumed, but it was nowhere to be seen. Do I have a different progression path than everyone else? It's just so we're just reading solo leveling, boys. I'm not judging. I love solo leveling. Okay, I'm happy to read it. The idea was as exciting as it was frightening. Not having to fight for resources with anyone else was an incredible advantage. Most of human society was built around the acquisition of soul shards. If he had no need to gather them to evolve, not only would he be able to become more powerful with incredible speed, he'd also be self-sufficient. On the other hand, he had no idea how to acquire these shadow fragments. However, he had gotten 12 of them already, so whatever it was, he had already done it in the first nightmare. I'll have to explain explore carefully. Satisfied with this, he continued. Memories, silver bell, puppeteer shroud. Echoes, 0. Attributes, faded, mark of divinity, child of shadows. Aspect, shadow slave. Aspect rank, divine. Aspect ability, shadow control. Aspect ability description, your shadow is more independent than most. It is an invaluable helper. Sunny held his breath and began to read again, but at that moment a new set of runes appeared. Simultaneously, the voice of the spell echoed. All power has a price. You have received a flaw. Your flaw is the sun. If he's a vampire, if he's a vampire, I'm quitting this series. Okay, you guys know how I hate vampires. Sunny read the runes and his eyes became widened in horror. No. Okay, I'm gonna update the chapter title, but I read it, so I have to read this. No! Oh, you're so Sunny. You're so fucked, bro. Your whole personality is gone. He closed his eyes, then opened them again, hoping the runes would disappear. Please, go away, go away. But the runes were still there, shining, as though they were mocking him. Flaw. Clear conscience. You cannot lie. Oh, brother. It's so over for you, Sunny. Okay, does a lie of omission count? Can he just can he just not talk? Does that work? Can he just be like, I'm taking a vow of silence, brother. Don't like some fucking priests and like fucking nuns in the Catholic Church take like a vow of silence or whatever. Can't he just do that? Either way, Unhinged, both of the Chris's are in the Discord. But can I get a Chris 1, Chris 2? Okay, dude, Chris, I appreciate how humble Chris is. He went, I'll be Chris 2. He's mod, I get it. I'll be Chris 2. Hey there. Stop. Hey there, you're okay. Chris 3. Sunny stared at these 3 simple words, feeling as though they were a bottomless abyss right beneath his feet. The spell, which was usually frivolous with descriptions, decided to be straight and to the point. Only 3 simple words that left him no room to maneuver. I can't lie? Me? How am I supposed to live if I can't lie? Sunny's very survival was predicated on the ability to deceive and outsmart others. Even the spell itself congratulated him on his treachery. Without the ability to lie, he couldn't do a fucking thing. His heart felt like it was about to stop. If he could only tell the truth, how was he supposed to hide his true name? Wouldn't anyone be able to turn him into a slave by simply asking a couple questions? Shit! Sunny was about to scream, but at that moment the spell spoke again. Wake up, lost from light. The void spun and disappeared, and Sunny opened his eyes. The armored ceiling of the police station vault hung above him, and no one would call its aesthetic beautiful, but to him it was a majestic sight. Only now did he realize how much he missed the real world. It was safe and familiar, no monsters or slavers, at least officially. There was no constant fear of death. It was home. In addition, Sunny felt incredible. The cold that had crept into his bones was gone, taking with it all the pain that his wounded body had endured for days. His feet and wrists were not in agony. His back had forgotten the bite of the whip, and he could even breathe without feeling the sharp edges of his broken lungs cutting into his lungs. Of his broken ribs cutting into his lungs. What a blessing. The sudden disappearance of pain, coupled with the new vitality, almost made Sunny cry. I survived. He looked ahead, then froze. On a cheap plastic chair beside him, His medical bed sat the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. Short black hair, icy blue eyes, flawless skin, supple and white as snow. This was Sunny's first time meeting someone as pale as him. But while Sunny's pallor looked strange and unhealthy, she was striking. The woman seemed to be in her late 20s. Madame Daly? She was wearing a dark blue uniform. Madame Daly! With silver epaulets and black leather boots. Madame Daly? The jacket of her uniform casually buttoned. Madame Daly, hold on. Currently, she was stretching her arms above her head, clearly bored and sleepy. The gesture forced the thin fabric to tighten, accentuating her. Mesmerized, Sunny almost missed the fact there was a shoulder-length insignia on the woman's left sleeve. 3 stars. 3 stars. Means an ascendant. Wait, you're an ascendant? Before Sunny could digest the meaning of this, he realized the woman was staring at him. What are you staring at, she said, with a gram of humor in her voice. Your breasts. Oh, he can't lie! He can't! Oh, I forgot! I forgot! I forgot! Dude, I would fucking kill myself right then and there. Oh my god. That's so peak. A second later, his eyes widened in horror. He wasn't planning on saying those words, but his mouth moved on its own. A wave of terror drowned his mind, and the woman slowly smiled with a dangerous gleam in her eyes. Then, without warning, she moved her hand and slapped Sunny. Sunny's whole body turned around, and if it wasn't for the restraints holding him, he would have probably flown off the bed. But it could still be considered getting off lightly, I suppose. As an ascended, the woman was an ascended. She could have torn his head off. Meanwhile, the woman cleared her throat. You awake now? Good. Let me tell you a piece of advice. Do not say anything that comes before your mind, especially to girls. It's not like you haven't seen a girl before, right? Say thank you, and I definitely will not, Sunny thought. But instead his mouth moved on its own. I've seen plenty, but none as beautiful as you. He then flinched, his face as red as a lobster. The woman stared at him for a few seconds, then burst into laughter. I see you haven't met a lot of Awakened, then. By Awakened standards, I'm below average. Hold on. The side effect of being awakened is you get hot as a fucking prime Megan Fox? What? Beretta. Damn, they be the awakened get all the money, they get all the power, and they get all the pussy. This is unfair, bro. This is unfair. Okay, this is not. Come on. You got what the fuck? Man. Mods, shoot that man. As your soul core develops, the body gets rid of all its imperfections, so it's hard to find an unattractive awakened, especially amongst the stronger ones. Live long enough, and you may just become a flower boy yourself. Well, in any case, since you're awake, welcome back to the land of the living, and congrats on surviving your first nightmare. Sleeper Sunless? Sleeper Sunless. That's how most people would address him now, at least in the short span of days until the winter solstice. After that, he would either return from the dream realm as an awakened, or not at all. It felt strange to have a title put before his name. In the past, Sunny was rarely even addressed by his name. Most people called him things like boy, punk, brat, or hey you. But now he had a damn title. Actually, the correct term was dreamer, but humans had their own set of words for those infected by the nightmare spell. Carriers who had just finished their first nightmare were called sleepers because of how they interacted with the spell. Basically, once his spirit enters the spell, his body was going to fall asleep. That slumber would continue for days, weeks, or even months, however long it took to escape the dream realm, hence sleeper. Once he escapes and becomes an awakened, he would live a life normal during the day and return to the dream realm every time he falls asleep. The awakened were called by the same name by the spell in the humans. That word also was used as a general term for all carriers. Then, if he were to decide to enter a second nightmare and manage to survive, he would become an Ascended. Most people call them Masters. Masters could enter and exit the dream realm as they wished. Some even chose never to go back. More than that, they traveled between the worlds physically, not just in spirit. And then above the Masters were Saints, those who had conquered 3 nightmares and earned the right to call themselves transcendent, as powerful as demigods and even more rare. Not only could they travel between the real world and the dream realm, they could also take others with them. But coming back to Masters, the beautiful woman stood up and approached the reinforced medical bed. With practice moves, she began to undo the restraints holding Sunny. "I am an Ascended, Jet. You may call me Master Jet. In the past 3 days, I was on a watch duty due to your nightmare. Right, before I fell asleep, the policeman told me an awakened would arrive to monitor me, to kill the creature if I died." "Master Jet, I have a question." "Go on." "Why would a master be put on watch duty? Isn't it below you?" "You're smarter than you look, boy. Recently, there's a lot of gates opening in this sector. Most of the awakened are either wounded or occupied, or dead. It's always like that close to winter solstice. Plus, there's not a lot of awakened who, like me, directly work for the government. It's by far the least lucrative or glorious career one can choose. Would you abandon wealth and fame to work abysmal hours and risk your life fueled only by altruism and a sense of duty?" "Of course not. I'm not an idiot." "Fuck this flaw, bro. Oh my god." She stared at him with a humorless expression. Sunny thought he was going to get slapped again. "See? I was right." "You are smart," Jet smiled. "Dude, oh my god. Jet from Valorant? Oh my god, Chris, I get why you like this book. She's Jet from Valo. I get it." Alright, let's just get to an even 20 and call it there. Like 9 chapters for a day I wasn't even going to stream was pretty good, eh? Wood for... Okay, not that I asked, but I get it. I'm ready to call our Master Jet. Okay, thank you for that, Nightshade. Appreciate your invaluable input, bro. Sunny was enjoying a hot shower. After their short conversation, Jet had sent him to clean himself up, saying that he reeked of nightmare. The unnatural slumber of the spell would naturally slow down the body's metabolism, and the medical apparatus he had been strapped into was supposed to take care of the rest, but he was still asleep for 3 days. Even if only psychological, the scent of bloodshed and despair lingered around him. "Ah, I'm in heaven. Alright, I gotta go home now." "Nice! Have a good night, Chris. Bye, buddy." Sunny thought, willing himself to temporarily forget about the looming disaster of the flaw. Everyone eventually falls to mommy. Okay. He was alone in the police station's shower, relaxing under the streams of hot waters. After a bit of time, Sunny reluctantly turned the tap off and walked to the towel rack. Coincidentally, he saw himself reflected in the mirror. The changes in his physique were subtle, but noticeable. His pale skin seemed a little healthier, his muscles more pronounced. He looked slender and lean instead of emaciated and frail. There was a luster to his hair and a shine to his eyes. However, he was still rather diminutive, not exactly a picture of masculine handsomeness, to say the least. Flower boy, eh? Sunny thought. Then he suddenly froze, noticing something. As he was looking at himself in the mirror, the reflection of his shadow seemed to move, as though the shadow lowered its head and face-palmed. Sunny turned around and piercing his shadow with a nervous look. But everything seemed fine. The shadow was doing what it was supposed to. "I saw you move. You just moved on your own, right?" Sunny stared at the shadow, which glared back. "Did you move or not?" The shadow shook its head. What the fuck do you mean? No, you just moved your head. You think I'm an idiot?" The shadow seemed to think for a bit, then just shrugged. "Your shadow is more independent than most. It's an invaluable helper," he thought. Right, this is how the spell described it. But what can you do? Hey, tell me. What can you do? The shadow was silent. Well, I guess he can't speak. Show me? No reaction. It seemed the shadow was content pretending to be ordinary. I'm doing this. I'm doing this wrong. Independent or not, the shadow was still a part of him, a manifestation of his ability. So instead of asking the shadow, he should be asking himself. Not gonna talk, are ya? Then he closed his eyes and directed his perception within, exploring himself for the first time since returning to the free world. He felt the beating of his heart, the steady rising of his chest, and the chill of the shower room. He heard droplets of water falling on the tiled floor, feeling the movement of filtered air against his skin. And there, on the verge of his consciousness, something new, a new sense. Then he concentrated on it, and a new world seemed to open to him. It was hard to describe with words, like one would have trouble explaining how hearing or touching feels. It was as though he could communicate with vast forms that crowded him, and receive an understanding of both their shape and space, guided by a different degree of pressure they exerted on his mind. Right, where am I? These forms were shadows, and amongst them, not the largest one, but the deepest, didn't feel like an external entity. It was like part of his soul. Once Sunny grasped the feeling of it, he could sense the shadow, just like he sensed his limbs. The only thing was that his limbs were made of flesh in the shadow from the absence of light. Sunny opened his eyes and looked at the shadow, and with a thought, willed to raise an arm. The shadow raised an arm. He willed it to sit down, stand, and turn around and kick. And he then willed it to change shape, turn into a circle, then a line, then a monster, and finally, back to his own silhouette. The shadow, mercurial and fluid like water. The only constant was its size. How about that? The shadow pouted, then raised its thumb. But how are you useful? He willed the shadow to strike the towel rack. It followed and delivered a powerful kick. But it was a shadow, causing it to pass over the towels harmlessly. You can do that? It said he would check out LOTM. Last I talked to him, I think he said he was close to finishing Volume 1. I don't know if he's finished it yet. There's no way. If he finished Volume 1, he would have definitely messaged me. I'll reach out to him tomorrow and I'll get back to you with the specifics, Chris. See where he's at. In his mind, the image of shadow tentacles tearing the mighty tyrant into little pieces. It seemed he would not be competing with the shadow god anytime soon. How regretful. The shadow looked at him with disdain, then shrugged and stopped moving, clearly offended. Fine, fine, Sunny sighed. After a few minutes, he was wearing a clean, police-issued tracksuit and heading for the cafeteria. Jet was waiting for him, with 2 trays of synthetic steaming food in front of her. Help yourself. Captain! Then he glanced at the cheap gruel, which was not so different from the stuff he normally ate, and sighed. Somehow he had expected something more. Still, it was food, I guess. He sat down and began to wolf it down. He was very, very hungry. In the process, his thoughts began to wander, and Sunny stole a glance at Jet and wondered. The spell had told him to find a master, and the next thing he knew was a woman calling herself master in front of him. He tried to imagine being a slave to her. Weird thoughts began to appear in his mind. Oh my god. You know what, Sunny? He thought. Knowing your luck, this would be the perfect moment to ask her. What are you thinking about? Sunny choked on his gruel. He felt his mouth begin to open and put all of his will into staying silent. A second passed without him saying anything. Then a pressure appeared in his mind, which turned into a blinding pain. I was thinking that it would be a perfect time for you to ask me what I was thinking about, he said. All right. Are you almost finished with your food? Sunny nodded. Then I'll begin. As per protocol, I'm obligated to inform you of a few things. It is mostly a formality. First of all, concerning your nightmare. You are entitled to receive free psychological counseling. No matter what traumatic experiences you have encountered, there is no shame in asking for help. Your mind is as important as your body. It's only right to keep it healthy. Are you interested? As you wish, you can also talk to me. Was it very hard? It was simultaneously much worse than I expected, and exactly as bad as I expected. That's a good attitude. I won't pry any further. Us outskirt rats are more resilient than others think. Watching from the start, but I forgot. Started watching LTM VODs. Master Jet, you grew up on the outskirts? What? You can't tell because of my exquisite manners and polished exterior? I couldn't tell at all. Are there a lot of people like us amongst the awakened? No, not a lot. In fact, they could be counted on one hand. As expected, odds really were stacked against them. One day I'll be a master too. If she can do it, why can't I? So, what happens now? What else are you obligated to tell me? That's basically it. There are some additional hoops to jump through, mostly having to do with your family, but, well, I've read your file, so I know it doesn't really apply. The only thing left to do is decide who will be preparing for your first journey to the Dream Realm. I must say, your luck is exceptionally bad. There's not a lot of time at all. First of all, you're free to do what you want. No one is forcing you to make certain decisions. That is to say, you can choose to prepare on your own, or not prepare at all. Party until the lights go out. Sunny was not very interested in partying anyway. However, I would advise against that. As a sleeper, you're also entitled to enroll in the Awakened Academy. You'll be provided with food, lodging, and a wide choice of preparatory classes. This late into the year, you won't be able to learn a lot, but better than nothing, I suppose. Motherfucker streams at 3 AM for me, so this will hopefully be an occasional stream visit. Well, this is not my normal time, Lord. Normally I stream about 5 hours before now on the weekends, or sorry, on the weekdays, and then about 9 or 10 hours before now on the weekends. So you do Joshua timing? Who the fuck is Joshua? Most importantly, you will get acquainted with some of the people you will enter the Dream Realm with. He's another Shadow... Wait, there's some... Is he reading it? Is he reading it? I'd have to talk to that guy. What? Does he stream on YouTube or Twitch? He's on chapter 1000? Dude, that'd be so cool. What? He's on YouTube too? Can you send me his... Can you send... fuck. Can you just tell me his channel name? I'll reach out to him. What the fuck? I did not know there was another. What? There's so many of us now. What the fuck? More importantly, you will get acquainted... And some may end up trying to end that life once we're inside that spell, Sunny added. So what are you saying? Do you want me to take you to the academy? Sunny thought about it. Strangely, his flaw was silent, not forcing him to answer. Is it because I haven't made up my mind? Finally, he looked down and made a decision. Free lodging and food, you say? Yeah, I'll go to the academy. No, I didn't. Joshua Curbs? After the great infestation of Dara fans? I don't go to Dara's Discord server. I talk to her personally a lot because she's a good person, but I don't actually know anything about. Oh, I get it. Because he basically he doesn't really post videos. He only streams, and streams obviously are very narrow in terms of who they get recommended to. Okay. He's hella... He does do videos, but he's like hella slow at making them. Me too, brother. Coming out next to your trust. Oh, he's reading T-Bait too? Dude, I gotta start reading T-Bait again. I read a lot of T-Bait on my own time. I just like before. So I just gotta get caught up. I think the author went on a long break after I stopped anyway, so I don't think there's that many chapters. Okay. Sunny was standing in front of the massive, seemingly indestructible red gates of the Awakened Academy. The Academy was, in fact, a city within a city. It was built like a fortress with high walls made of hard alloy, deep moat, and numerous high-caliber turrets, which were placed in certain positions to create a deadly air suppression dome. No nightmare creature, not even a colossal titan, were supposed to be able to break through such defenses. It was a legendary place. Actually, many of the popular webtoons, youth dramas, and novels took place behind that wall. Adventurers, rivalries, romantic entanglements of young awakened heroes were the mainstream theme of modern entertainment. Never did Sunny imagine he would become one of those. Do you like Academy arcs? They're not my favorite. I don't dislike them, but I just find they're generally done very poorly. Of course, how things were differed a lot from how it was portrayed in media. More than that, he only had 4 weeks to spend here anyway. Even if he wanted to, there was not enough time for any kind of entanglement, and he definitely didn't want to. He had to learn how to survive, not waste time on such nonsense. The snow was falling to the ground, and it was cold and silent in front of the academy gates, except for Sunny. There was only one other person, another new sleeper, if you had to guess. It was a tall, slender girl of his age, with clear eyes and a detached look on her face. Short, strange silver-white hair that was cut short and neatly parted to the side. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, I got a slight spoiler. This is very minute. I don't know anything to do about it, I want to be clear. But I got like a very slight spoiler. I stopped reading as soon as I was like, oh shit, my bad. So I sent in Discord like an image I saw of Shadow Slave, because it was like a YouTube video that was recommended to me. It was like a song playlist with like artwork. I thought the artwork. I took a screenshot of the artwork because I was like, yo, this looks like it would fit Shadow Slave really well. It turns out the artwork was for Shadow Slave. I didn't know that, but no, right? So I was like, I was just scrolling through the comments because I was bored at work, and I read like, the comment was something to the effect of like Sunny and Neffels. Neffless? I don't know, something like this. I think they're gonna be like, it was a girl with white hair. I think she's gonna be like a love interest for him of some kind, something like that. I don't know, that's all I know. I know she has white hair, so as soon as I read that she has silver white hair, I was like, oh, okay. So, this might be Neffless, I don't know. That's all I don't know anything else about. I know that she's probably a love interest for him, though. That's it. Anytime I get a spoiler, I want to tell you guys so that, you know, if my reaction isn't what it is, you guys know what the reason is. Or either way, like, I don't ever want it to feel like I'm, like, you know, reading shit or like checking out spoilers about you guys or whatever. So like, if I get shit, I'll let you know. Okay. Just like him, she was dressed in a police-issued tracksuit and had no personal belongings. On the other hand, there was a pair of old-fashioned old-fashioned headphones. She was calmly listening to music. There was a certain vibe to the silver-haired girl. It was as though she was apart from the world. She looked confident and self-sufficient, and a bit lonely. Sidney wasn't going to talk. Who knew what kind of situation he would put himself in with that damn flaw? It was better to just shut up. I wonder what flaw does she have? He looked at the girl inside. Finally, the gates began to open. The giant, ridiculously thick sheet of reinforced metal slowly descended, creating a long bridge. Master Jet's words echoing in his mind. On their drive to the academy, Sunny didn't speak much, looking at the sights of the city that were flying past, of Jet's personal transport vehicle. It was his first time sitting in a PTV. Most people in the city couldn't even dream about getting a license and purchasing a vehicle having to do with public transportation. He had ridden in the back of police cruisers once or twice, but that was completely different. Since we both come from the outskirts, I'll give you 3 pieces of advice, Jet said. Whether you listen to me or not, your business. First, once you're registered in the Academy, they'll offer you psychological counseling again. There will be a valuable reward for sharing your experiences in the nightmare and details of your appraisal. You'll be able to receive a soul shard, maybe even several. Are you trying to convince me to visit a psychiatrist? No, I'm telling you to refuse. Oh, why? You're too green to understand, but out there in the dream realm, nightmare creatures are not the only danger. Once you grow powerful, humans will become an equal threat. The less they know about your aspect, the better. The easiest way to defeat a powerful awaken is to use their flaw. That's why young fools in the Academy are encouraged in various ways to share details of their aspect. I'm not saying the government will leak your information, but once one or two people know your secret, it's not a secret. That makes sense. Thank you. Second, there will be a lot of courses to choose from, all types of combat training, deep dives into nightmare creature categories and vulnerabilities, basics of various types of sorcery, artifact studies, and so on. Disregard all of that. The only time you have to spend is wilderness survival. What? It's different for city kids, who learn all sorts of useful things in school and from their tutors. We don't have that, do we? What was the biggest threat to you in your nightmares? Sunny thought. On the surface it seemed like it would be the tyrant, followed by the hero. But actually, it was the cold. Smart. You only know how to survive in the city, but the dream realm is made of wilderness. Do you know how to make a fire? How to procure food? How to find shelter? No. Fighting monsters is important, but it'll be useless if you die of hunger. Trust me, I learned the hard way. Sunny nodded, angry at himself. It was so obvious, but he never even thought about it. Human brains were like that. Once accustomed to a certain way of living, it was hard to see past the familiar routines. At that point, Jet had stopped the PTV and opened the door. Getting out, Sunny followed her and was stunned, looking at the colossal doors in front of him. The famous academy. This is as far as I go, she said. I've already notified them. Someone will come to get you. What's the third piece of advice? Sunny asked. Remember, no one can survive in the dream realm alone. That is not an opinion. It is a fact. Try to get along with your peers, even if they don't treat you well. It may save your life. You have done well to survive until now. Make sure you keep yourself alive in the future too. She got back into her car and drove off, and was gone. At the end of the metal bridge, hit the special grooves in the ground and stopped moving. Sunny looked ahead, wondering what kind of life he was going to be living in the next 4 weeks. Keep your flaw and aspect secret. Learn to survive in the wild. Be nice to others. It doesn't sound too hard. But for some reason, he was sure that these weeks were going to be as challenging as his first nightmare. Maybe worse. But for some seemingly free of concern, the silver-haired girl walked forward on the bridge. Sunny sighed and followed. Alright, last chapter for the day. One more. Good pace? Yeah, we got like, what, 10 chapters in like under an hour, under 2 hours? His pace is diabolical, as in it's really good or really bad, I can't tell. I don't know, maybe he's like used to Joshua who's fucking doing, I don't know, fucking a chapter for every 4 minutes or something. I genuinely don't know how someone could do. Oh, really good, okay. Yeah. I can average generally about 10 minutes a chapter. How would you be in this situation having his flaw? Really bad, bro. Really bad. Dude, I lie like on instinct. It's bad. It's genuinely bad. The sleeper part of the compound was relatively small and situated in the southern part of the academy, surrounded on all sides by training fields and parks. It was a low, modern building constructed with reinforced materials, like the majority of buildings in the academy, most of it hidden below the ground, leaving only a couple of floors below. With its white, pristine alloy walls and wide windows, it must have looked beautiful in the summer, contrasted against the greenery. Josh once spent an hour on a single chapter. It's been done. I've done it once before myself. Inside, the building was spacious and well lit. Sunny and the silver-haired girl were taken to a huge hall where 100 or so young men and women, sleepers of the same unfortunate timing as the two of them, were already waiting for the beginning of the induction ceremony. Most of them were nervous, tense, and excited. The logistics of the academy were a constant headache for the administrators, since the rate at which spell-infected people was always chaotic. There was no way to structure for batches of sleepers. Some had a full year to prepare, and some only months, some even days. That's why these induction ceremonies were held each month at the beginning of the year, and then every week once the winter solstice began to loom near, since the number of sleepers in the hall had to wait days to be inducted, while Sunny had lucked out and was delivered to the academy just hours before the event. Once inside the hall, he understood two things. Firstly, everyone was well dressed and in possession of suitcases, duffel bags, or at least a backpack carrying their belongings. Obviously coming prepared, most likely from home sent off by families, so Sunny and the silver-haired girl who came empty-handed, wearing police-issued clothes, were not a norm like he had assumed, but an anomaly, right? Second, Master Jet had not been overly humble when she called herself below average by Awakened standards. Even these young people who were just starting their paths as Awakened, their looks were dazzling. Everyone was handsome and beautiful. This place is gonna be like fucking the Olympic Village, or like the fucking, you know what I'm talking about? Or you guys know what I'm talking about, right? This place is like, imagine fucking 5,000 kids, all who are looking like fucking supermodels, having to sleep in the same under the same roof. Holy shit! There's not enough condoms in an entire fucking country to fucking. Secondly, Master Jet, he swallowed. Still, I feel like none of them compare. She may not be as perfectly shaped, but I don't know. She just has a presence. Damn, King, you go. Go get what you'd like, okay? Go after what you want. Jet solos though? Yeah, that's what he's saying. He's like, damn, you guys are pretty, but you ain't shit compared to my queen. You know what this reminds me of? There's this, it was like a Ludwig stream where he's talking about like Pokimane, and he's like, oh, you know, Poki, the queen of Twitch, not my queen. It's like, hey, you're pretty, you're a queen, you're the queen of this academy, not my queen though. Jet though, Jet is all I think about, bitch. Was this the difference between a sleeper and a master? But all of these were just thoughts for him trying to postpone the inevitable. Sunny knew he was in for a wild ride. Because he could not lie, and all these excited youth, regardless of their clothes, gender, and looks, wanted to do one thing: talk. Every one of them wanted to talk with fellow sleepers, wanting to discuss their nightmares, their journey into the dream realm, and everything in between. They wanted to ask questions, wanted to be asked questions. They wanted to discuss and chit-chat. Everyone wanted to share. It's a fucking nightmare, Sunny moaned. I'm doomed. Then, with a grim determination, he gritted his teeth and slowly exhaled. Just think about it as a continuation of your trial. You survived the Black Mountain, you can survive this. You'd face heroes, villains, monsters, and even gods. What's to be afraid of for a bunch of teenagers, right? In half an hour, pretty much everyone in the room hated his guts. After a short series of conversations, Sunny acquired a reputation of being an obnoxious, foul-mouthed pervert. The reputation that quickly solidified. He was slapped a few times, punched once, and also discovered a couple new things about himself. Namely, that deep down he was apparently rude, arrogant, and quite lustful. His conversation went something like this. I don't want to read it yet. I can imagine it. Look at all of these young people. How many do you think will return from the dream realm? How many do you think will die? What do you think are our chances? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure a fucking idiot like you will die first. Or, I even received an armor type memory in my nightmare. It's an enchanted robe. Would you like to see? Actually, I'd prefer to see you without a robe. Ooh. Oh, dude. Okay, hold on. You're gonna hate on that game, though? What? Okay, listen. Do I think that maybe he should ask by, like, start off by, like, asking your name and, like, you know, getting to know you a little bit? Maybe, but a player's gonna play, bro. That was hard. What? He thought of that off the cuff? You gotta give him that. Come on. What? Hold on, sorry. My hair's getting rowdy. Or, then those lowlives began to rob the bodies. It was disgusting. They even took off their shoes. What kind of degenerate would take a dead man's shoes? I once killed a man and took his boots. They were nice boots. What? You killed someone just for the pair of boots? Of course not. There were other reasons. I took his cloak. I tried so hard to hold in my laughter. Dude, if I didn't laugh, that was gonna make such a good YouTube clip. What? Oh, that's so sad. Oh, that's so funny. Once again, an outcast, Sunny was eventually left alone. People seemed to be avoiding him. Unperturbed, he had found a quiet corner and stood there, glad that no one wanted to talk to him anymore. His face hurt and there was blood dripping from his nose. Being ostracized from the group was nothing new, but it still hurt. But he was still smiling, because in the process of turning the whole batch of sleepers against him, he had discovered something. He had learned how to control his flaw. Once asked a question, he couldn't shut up. He couldn't lie. But after a lot of experimenting, he found with a bit of practice he could influence the exact way the truth came out. Like this, after receiving a question, his mind produced a truthful answer. After that, the flaw would force him to say that. Refusal to speak would result in the buildup of pressure, then piercing pain. The longer he kept quiet, the worse the pain. Eventually, he would speak. But in these moments, between receiving the question and surrendering to the pain, the actual wording of the answer could be changed. The more it strayed from the initial thought, the more resistance he would meet. Once again, in a form of pressure, then pain. It started to be truthful, but it didn't have to be so stark. For example, if Jet were to catch him staring again and asked what he was staring at, instead of simply embarrassing himself, he could have said, "You." It would still be the truth, just the results may be different. Good, this is good, this is great, I can work with this, Sunny thought. After all, one didn't have to lie to deceive. Sometimes the truth was the best material for deceit. If used with certain devious types of intelligence, truth could be as misleading as lies. For example, in one of his previous conversations, Sunny had confessed that he had stolen the boots of a dead man. The other man was horrified and asked if he had killed him for just the pair of boots. The answer the flaw forced him to say was that there were other reasons. He had also took the cloak. The true reason for killing the veteran slaver was that he had whipped Sunny a few hours before. Besides, he was already dying. The cloak had nothing to do with the killing. However, the wording of the answer created an impression that it did. Thus, two truthful statements put together had the effect of a lie. This was a simple example. With a lot of effort and intense thinking, Sunny could create other types of manipulative truths. It's going to be risky and difficult, but it could be done. He needed a bit of luck, and it was time to put it into practice. Sunny didn't forget his true objective, to make sure that no one ever finds his true name. To achieve that, he had to create an impression that he was a pathetic, weak person, someone who would never receive a positive appraisal, let alone a divine aspect and a true name. But since this would be a lie, he couldn't say that. So how was he to convince the others that he did not have a powerful aspect and an impressive record with the spell? His eyes fell on a particular group of sleepers. There was 5 or 6 of them, gathered around a young, confident young man. The young man had brown hair and a gentle, handsome face, his eyes green with a hint of friendly humor. His posture, figure, and attentive gaze betrayed someone who went through intensive training. Everything around him screamed nobility and strength. At that moment, one of his companions was saying, "Ascended? You received an ascended aspect? What? What was your appraisal?" The young man smiled. "Oh, it was excellent." Then he stopped in front of the group, as though by accident. Hearing the young man's answer, he frowned and looked with disdain. "Ascended? Excellent? That's it? What's the big deal?" Absolute cinema. Comes into a new school, says horny things to the most popular girl, tells another guy he's an arrogant dick and is gonna die, goes up to the popular guy and goes, "You're actually kind of shit though." Absolute cinema, my goat, truly. Alright, boys. Let's call it there. I'm so glad I got to read tonight. I was not intending to read, but man, I'm so excited to read Shadow Slave. This is so fucking fun. That was fucking great. Good timings, man. What, under 2 hours for 10 chapters? We started reading an hour and 48 minutes ago. Actually, probably like an hour 45 minutes ago. 10 chapters, hour 45. That almost perfectly maps out to like 10 minutes a chapter. That's amazing. 10 minutes, 30 seconds, I guess. But yeah, fuck, I was counting the 30 seconds, eh? Oh, it's so good. What? Now let's see if he hears easy again. Oh, listen, I hate to say it. That's like fucking, how many chapters? That's like, what, 3,000? It's not fucking... I can do it. Alright, boys, that's it. I'll catch y'all later. Y'all have a good night. I'll catch y'all tomorrow, alright? Regular timing tomorrow. No changes. The timing. What do you think of his power? His powers seems rather fucking useless for divine level. His power, his flaw is great. I love that. That's really good. Make someone like really... So like basically the whole series we're gonna be like, he's going, oh my god, like, and he's like, because he's so clever in how he would manipulate, but he can't. He's like, yes, I did in fact kill your brother. No, I had no reason to. He looked at me wrong. Fuck him. You're like, all right, bro. Oh, fuck me, I guess. Philip, next Shadow Slave stream will be tomorrow. Technically, it was supposed to be tomorrow. I wasn't supposed to stream today, but I was too excited. Shit happens. All right, bye, boys. I don't think there's a girl here. I can say that. Bye, guys.